welcome to April and the beginning of a brand new quarter. This is the time where we usually make plans for the coming 3 months and review the progress we've made already towards our goal for the year. But everything is weird right now. Everything is different. Nothing is like it usually is. So, how do we do that? Should we even bother? Should we review? Should we make a new plan for the month? Let's talk about that today. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 304 with me, Tara Swigert. I hope you are staying healthy and you're staying inside. Now, this week is the first full week of the second quarter, so it is a great time to look back at what you've accomplished so far this year in the first 3 months and make a plan to move forward with your goals. Inside the Starship, we do this every quarter. At the beginning of the quarter, we actually work through my book, Map Your Business, which helps you figure out where you are right now, where you want to go, and then make a plan for the next 2 to 3 months of how to get there, along with doable to-dos and milestones so you know you're on the right path and you can actually draw out the map and make it pretty if you want to. So we do that every quarter in the Starship because it's not enough to make your goal for the year and then just hope you get it. Spoiler alert, things are going to change. We might not have been able to expect that they would change this much, but that's what's happened. Things have changed. The things that you thought you would do to reach your goal, they might have been canceled. You might not be able to do them now. Everything is different. That's okay, because it's built into the system to expect that things will change and be different. That's why we regularly review each month and we make a new plan every quarter. Let's do it. Even if things are not what you expected, even if you don't know what the next 3 months look like, we can still make a plan accepting the reality that we're in right now. Now, I know nothing is normal right now. You are staying home. No one in your home is ever leaving it. You might not be able to get the supplies you normally get. You might not be selling where you usually do. People might be buying less because some people are losing their jobs. And yet, now is a perfect time to plan for this new quarter. Now is a perfect time to plan for the new reality that we'll be in for the next month or more. Now, I've actually already talked about planning during uncertainty back at episode 254, so you'll find that linked up in the show notes below to go find episode 254 where I talk about planning and uncertainty because I gave suggestions for how you can plan when your life is uncertain. And back in episode 291, I shared how I was planning the new year while my life was so uncertain as a foster parent. I have been planning for the last 2 years under the cloud of massive uncertainty. I don't know what kids I'll have, how many kids I'll have, if they'll go to school, if they'll be home with me, if they'll be babies, if they'll be 6-year-olds. And that means that it is very hard to decide from one quarter to the next what I'll be able to do and what I can plan on doing. But guess what? Now you are joining me in everything being up in the air and nothing being normal. And the good news is we can still make plans. We can still figure out what we want to work on. We can still move forward. It's really uncomfortable, isn't it? This not knowing, this not being sure what you can commit to, what you can move forward on. It is so uncomfortable. And one of the things I find myself wanting to do is just to waiting for it to feel normal, waiting for things to be okay, waiting for everything to be how it was. But that's not going to happen. And we don't know when that's going to happen. And that uncertainty of not knowing when it's going to happen adds another layer of stress and anxiety to it all. The fact is, we may very well need limited social contact for quite a long while until this is completely passed. And after that, life will be different. Some of the people who lost jobs won't be getting those same jobs back. Some of the jobs will be filled by different people. Some jobs will be totally new. The economy will be different when this is over. Some businesses or some shops that might have been buying your goods might not open back up. Other shops might pop up in their place. Now, I don't say any of this to scare you or to freak you out. I know you're probably already thinking about it and wondering about it. But I'm talking about this to be honest with you so you can be honest with yourself. I can be honest with myself while I'm making plans. Things have changed and we don't know when normal is coming back. So waiting for normal to come back is wasting time and it's not relieving any anxiety because it's going to be uncertain about when things are back to normal for quite a while. And just waiting to hear about it just adds to the uncertainty. What we can do is embrace today for being today. We can accept our current reality and find ways to live within that. This is one of the tricky things about uncertainty. The more comfortable you become living not being certain, the easier it is to navigate. And I know it's scary. Change is really, really hard and really stressful. And never before have we all been going through change at the same time. That's very disorienting. It's one thing when you go through a major life change, it's another thing when everyone around you is also dealing with their own stress around their major changes. So, waiting until everything is back to normal isn't going to work. Accepting where you are right now is the only way forward. And I just want to give you permission for it to take as long as it takes for you to accept where you are right now, for you to get used to your new daily routine or your new schedule or the new reality. It may take days or weeks or even a month where you feel like you're really like, okay, this is how things are. So you feel like you're through the fog of uncertainty and change because change is disruptive. And so it's going to take a while for it to feel slightly less disrupted. So you have total permission to take as long as it takes until you feel like you're out of the fog and you're feeling creative again and you feel like you can think about your work again within the new reality. But once you've accepted and you're through it a bit, it's time to plan. So how can we plan when we don't know what's coming? How do we navigate making a plan when we're not sure what's ahead of us? I've got a couple of tips for you. Number one, look at your goals and dreams again. Go back to the goals you made at the beginning of the year and get reoriented in where you want to go and where you are right now. And ask yourself which of those goals you still care about. What still matters? What is still very doable in the current reality right now? So maybe you had a goal that you had some business goals, but you also had a goal that you were going to quilt 6 quilts, or you were going to start working outlining your book. Those are very, very doable. Maybe doing 5 craft shows isn't, but maybe outlining your book is. So what still matters to you and what is still doable? Don't scratch out the things that aren't doable right now. That will come. But put stars next to the things that you still deeply care about and are still doable with the life you have right now. You know, if you made some changes, because you've always got to make some changes in order to find time to work on your goals. So the second suggestion is to forget the old way of getting there and look for new ways. So if you've got, say, a sales goal and you had your plan for how you're going to get there, maybe they were craft shows, maybe they were selling wholesale to shops that aren't open right now, you got to let go of that. That's not going to happen right now. What are other ways you could do it? Maybe it's finally time for you to open up that Shopify shop. Maybe it's time for you to add items to your online website. Maybe you're going to grow your email list at a craft show, but what about growing your email list via Instagram or Facebook ads or by creating a free PDF download? Look for new ways. Even if you don't even know how they work yet, they're out there. You don't know all of the business options. You don't know all of the business technology you could be using. So look for other ways to do that thing if it still matters to you. My third suggestion is focus on systems and not outcomes. If you find yourself stressed that people aren't shopping as much now, although you're not shopping as much in person now, but they might be shopping even more online now than ever before. But if that's what's stressing you out and that's the belief you have, stop focusing on the outcomes of your goals and start focus on setting up the systems for your goals. I have a whole podcast episode about that. I'll link up in the show notes. Focus on systems and not goals. In other words, how are you going about reaching your goals? Where are you consistent? Where do you talk to your customers? What is your messaging? These are all things we work on inside the Starship program, but these are things that will lead to the outcome of your goals, even if right now that might not be possible. Having the system created and getting consistent with the system will lead to the outcome of your goals. It may take 6 months instead of 2 months now, but it will still happen. So when it comes to systems, think about what technology do you need? How consistent will you be? What do you have to do in order to stay consistent within your new reality of what your days are like, maybe with your kids home or your spouse home, or you're not ever leaving the house to go get anything? How can you stay consistent within the new reality? So I'm going to be honest, one of the things I've seen a lot of is makers and artists are worried about their sales and the outcomes of like launches and things they were going to do. But these are for makers and artists who haven't yet ever been consistent in their business. So they're saying, oh no, my business is falling apart, but they never were consistent with it yet. So now is the time to stop looking at your sales, stop looking at outer metrics, and look at your systems, your consistency, how you're showing up, who you're talking to, what your marketing message is like. Is your stuff profitable when it does sell? All of those things that I call the foundations of your business, if you don't have them in place, then It's not the current thing that's keeping you from making money. It's that you need those in place first. Now, if you have those in place, like some of my Starship captains, and you are seeing a decrease in sales, that's okay. Stay the course. Things will get back to normal. Don't blame this when your sales weren't consistent beforehand. You need to focus first on that. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Just do the work to get consistent. So when this is over, your business is more set up for sales and profit than it ever has been before. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about with those foundations, if you have no idea how to figure out your marketing message or where to market or your profitability, I have a free workshop about that. You can find it at tarasviger.com/foundations. It will also be linked up in the show notes. The fourth thing is to be realistic. Yes, work on your goals, make a plan, but also practice really accepting the time and energy you have right now. Now, I know that I have about an hour a day as long as my girls aren't in school. I wish I had more. I wish I could do more. I wish I could stay up and work nights, until 2 a.m. But that's just not how I work. That's not how my body works. That's not the amount of energy I have right now. So that 1 hour is the extent of the time and energy I have. So I'm making a plan for my coming quarter, and I'm looking at the systems and products I want to create, knowing I'll be able to do it about 5 hours a week. I will consider it a success if I use those 5 hours well. Really, if I use 3 to 4 of those hours well, it's a success. If I create and publish this podcast each week, hold the weekly Starship chat, and go live in my Facebook group, that will be a successful week. That's it. Low expectations because I'm being realistic. Because here's the thing about high expectations. You might think, oh, I'm going to do these 50 things. I'm going to hold myself, to this high standard. That way I can do some of it. But if that makes you feel bad, you'll actually get less done. What I know from past chaotic times with new foster placements is the lower my expectations are, the easier it is for me to be creative and go above and beyond that. Because I'm not feeling bad for not reaching my already too high expectations. Now, my fifth suggestion is to be gentle on yourself. Along with really being realistic, give yourself a break. Like, I have more hours than just nap time. I could get up early or I could work late, but I need that rest and recovery. I know I'm not going to be able to do any of the other things I have to do during the day if I'm exhausted and grumpy and feel stressed about work. Now, I don't know about you, but I find myself more on edge, more exhausted, more short-tempered than usual because of the stress, the anxiety, the news, the worrying, the hearing from people. So don't make your business and your goals another thing to stress yourself out about. Don't make another layer of anxiety on top of all this being, oh no, I'm not working on my business enough. Be gentle on yourself, be realistic with what you can do, and give yourself permission for everything to take longer. You know what? If your goal this year was to hit, say, $50,000 in sales, and you're not going to because of coronavirus, first of all, you don't know you're not going to. It's just April. But if it feels like you're not going to because of coronavirus, so maybe you'll hit it in 2021. Maybe you'll get 90% of the way there this year. Maybe this will give you time and energy to come up with an amazing plan for November and December that will get you the rest of the way there. If you go back and you listen to episode 191 where I talk about planning for 2020, I talk about breaking down any sales goal into quarters and then months so that you can see that you're on your way there. And if 1 month is low, that's okay. You can make up for it in another month. You're not just waiting till the end of the year to see if you made it or not. You're regularly keeping track of it and adjusting accordingly. And if March and April are super low sales months that really knock you out of the path you were on, you know what? It'll be okay. You might not hit the overall goal this month or this year. You'll hit it next year. You might be super close to hitting it this year because you made the goal and you kept going even through the hard times. We don't know at this point. It's too early to know. So be gentle on yourself. Be realistic. Give yourself permission to rest when you need to. Now, we are going to get through this. Things might not look the same afterwards, but what if that's a good thing? What if the way that your business was structured needed to be changed? What if this is changing things in a good way for your business and your industry? What if you set a goal for the quarter and you reach it despite all the chaos? How awesome and great will you feel? Maybe it's not the goal you had planned. Maybe it's smaller or different or focused on something else, but you will feel like a rock star when you get through this quarter and we get to the end of June and you've accomplished something throughout all of this. Now, one way or the other, the time is going to pass. The virus is going to pass. There will be shopping and craft shows and retail locations making orders again. The question is, how will your business be ready for it? And how will you be feeling about yourself throughout that time? Now, next week, we're going to talk about how the heck to find your enthusiasm when everything is hard and difficult. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want to work on the foundations of your business, you can watch that free workshop at tarswagger.com/foundations. You can join us for live conversations each week inside the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/tarswagger. You can find links to everything in the show notes. You can just click on the link below wherever you're watching this, or go to tarswagger.com/podcast304, where you'll find all of this written out, along to links to everything I talked about. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm wishing you a very peaceful and enthusiastic